All right, we're live.
Let's do it.
This week's episode of Here's What I Don't Get is brought to you in part by Pixels. Pixels, the things that you're not supposed to see while you're at a movie theater watching a big ass fucking screen. Why am I not getting audio?
Classic HWIDG.
Well, because this thing's not. Haha. Hello and welcome back to Here's What I Don't Get, from north to south, east to west, the only intercontinental podcast to tackle all of life's toughest issues and the longest consecutively running podcast on the See You Next Tuesday podcast network. I'm your host, Ted Burr, and with me today from the great red state of North Carolina, Uncle Buck.
Yeah.
How's it going, buddy? I know.
Terrible.
Yeah.
Terrible. It's been a bad couple of years at this point.
Yeah.
Which I'll get into most of it in my issue. How's things for you?
Things are, not too bad. Thursday night, there was a storm that hit the area that I live in, and apparently it knocked out the glass furnace at school, and it broke it in such a way that it was not able to be repaired last week. So it's theoretically repaired today and will get lit up tomorrow, which means that there's no hot glass until like Friday. And last week I got fucked out of all my time working in the studio, and the week before that I got fucked out all my time working in the studio. So I've gone it's been like 3 weeks, and I've worked in glass like 3 times. I'm really starting to get pissed off about it.
But slap your veins like
yeah,
I got to eat that. I got to get that fix.
I need my hot honey hands.
What?
Hot glass looks like the it looks like what you imagine the most perfect honey would be.
I mean, I've seen videos on.
Yeah.
I've seen videos. The awkwardness with which you said it. It's like I need my hot honey hands. Like you saw you were trying to pick up a chick, and it's been a little while.
Yeah, it flows like honey, but then it also emits light. It's insane.
Yeah.
It's the fifth state of matter.
I know about the 4.
Yeah, it's the 5th one.
Okay.
It's a saying.
Is that
It doesn't behave like a solid. Glass is not a solid, because a solid, like ice, it freezes, it becomes a crystalline structure that's rigid. And when glass solidifies, it's basically a super cooled liquid, not a solid, because there's no actual lattice working.
Yeah, I remember hearing that when I was a kid, and like technically your windows are melting.
Yeah.
Just very, very,
that's
very slowly.
True. That's a myth, because what happens is when they were making old style windows, you would spin a disc of glass and then cut it into a square and then put it into a frame, and people would put the fat part at the bottom because it made it more stable.
I just thought they were just talking about because glass is technically still a liquid, it's just slowly running like for centuries.
Yeah. Towards
Not that. Yeah.
Heat death of the universe.
Something like that.
But yeah, other than that, it's been. I went and saw John Wick 4 last night at what might be my. So the last time I went to the movies was to see Sonic 2, and I got extremely drunk and passed out in the theater because that movie sucked. So this time,
it is a Sonic movie.
Yeah, well, the first one was good though, Buck. The first one was good.
If you say so.
The second one was not good. But so I loaned out my copies of John Wick 1, 2, and 3 on 4K Blu-ray to a friend when I live in Tulsa before the pandemic, and I never got them back. And so I was like, I want to watch these movies again to before this 4th movie comes out, but I don't want to watch them in shitty 1080p. I want to watch them in 4K. So I was at Walmart one day, and they had this box set, and it was all 3 movies plus like a deck of cards, and then it also came with a coupon for $10 off of your or $8 off of your tickets to go see it, John Wick 4. And it was on sale. It was like 25, 20, $30. And so I was like, that'll be worth it. I'll get these movies again and I'll just use this coupon. So I went to go use the coupon, and the only IMAX screen nearby that the coupon was usable at was in Edwardsville, Illinois, which is 35 minutes away from where I live. But
Okay.
I want to see the movie in fucking IMAX, not in some like shitty little small screen theater. I want to like experience this John Wick moment in giant impressive 11K or whatever. I
Yeah.
fucking go to the movie theater. The screen is pixelated to shit. It looks fucking awful. The subtitles are real bad, but then they do like these big wide panoramic shots. Like there's a shot of them in Paris in front of the Eiffel Tower as they're like negotiating this duel. And it's this just gorgeous shot. And all the people look like little fucking lumpy monsters because the thing's so badly pixelated. And I was just like, fucking why? Why? It started late. There was like 25 minutes of previews for shitty movies I'm never going to see. There's all these dumb fucking people around talking. And I was just like, I hate this. I fucking hate going to the movie theater. I cannot believe I fucking drove 35 minutes for this shit. I can't believe I spent $20 on popcorn and I fucking spent $20 on a ticket, and I'm just fucking, I hate this. I would much rather just watch this alone on my fucking sofa like a person where the screen would look better than this, and I don't have to drive anywhere. I can have all the snacks that I want. I can make Jiffy Pop. I really like making Jiffy Pop now.
Okay.
You know the stuff
So-
you make on the sofa?
I'm aware of what it is. I was. I mean, look, listen, how creative you are. If you want to set your sofa on fire, I'm sure you can Jiffy Pop. You got to remember, I was born in the '80s, man. I remember Jiffy Pop. So, Aunt Buck and I actually got to go see a movie a few weeks back. So we found this. She heard about this theater, a friend of ours, up towards like Wilkesboro almost, and the tickets there are like ridiculously cheap, and the concessions are ridiculously cheap, and they're self-serve.
Oh wow!
So you know what that means?
You get as much as you want. You just bring like a
Like-
Rubbermaid tub and just start scooping the popcorn in there.
Yeah, as long as you buy your
Kids, we're
popcorn
gonna need your
bucket-
toy box. Dad's going to the movies.
Well, a couple years ago, I built my kids like a toy treasure chest kind of thing. It weighs 80 pounds, but it's like 4 feet by 2 feet by 2 feet. So like this like coffin essentially. And the thing like collapses under its own weight. You can't pick it up. But I would just take that in there and just like, so you don't even use a scoop. You just push a button and popcorn comes out into your bag, and then you've got the little oil dispenser next to it. And so,
Oh, so you can perfectly layer them.
yeah, because I was going to mention, you know how the difficulty of explaining to someone, I would like the oil, the butter substitute in layers inside the popcorn.
Yeah.
And then the person who's running the concession stand is 15, and they're like, huh? So you just, you give up and you murder someone else. So
See, they don't even have it at this theater. The oil thing was like not behind the concession stand. I got my popcorn, then I could put the oil on myself. So of course the top layer very oily and delicious.
fantastic.
Everything else dry as fuck.
What you need to do is bring like one of those
Second
tumblers
container.
one of those tumblers they use for bingo,
And
just-
yeah.
and just put your popcorn in there and tumble it as the oil pours in, and then just keep tumbling it forever and then just until absurdity takes place.
I was
which is-
thinking while I was in the theater, I was like, I wish there was like a popcorn bucket that had like a small heating element, battery powered, and then a thing that would like keep the popcorn fluffed.
you
You
see, I think
couldn't
it would
cut a
just
hole
break
in the
the
bottom of
popcorn.
it though.
Yeah, and Aunt Buck has gotten wise to that one. We've been married for a while. So if I'm holding the bucket of popcorn, she won't eat any. Plus, she's got a real bad problem with getting the kernels in her teeth, the husks. So she'll eat a little bit of popcorn and then get mad. But no, we went and saw that Jesus Revolution movie, it was good for a religious movie. It's got Jonathan Rumi from The Chosen, a show which Joel inexplicably hates, despite Jonathan Rumi being Catholic. So anyway, it was a good experience. It was one of the few good experiences we've had lately.
Yeah.
I got like 2 giant buckets of popcorn. I still have so we didn't take the kids. I don't know how we got away with this. And I brought home like a bucket of popcorn, and I have to hide this. So over in my chair by my defunct computer, I put the bucket of popcorn and I put this flight suit over it so the kids couldn't find it. And then I locked my studio and I forgot it was there. And so now I've got like 3-week-old bucket of popcorn that's no good.
Tim and I used to go to school with this guy who worked at the AMC theaters in town, and he would show up to school like the day after his shift, and he would have a trash bag full of popcorn, and he would be snacking on it. It's like, number one, dude, that's day old popcorn, and number two, you're eating out of a fucking trash bag.
And number three, give me some, faggot.
No, I don't want any of his fucking popcorn. He had enough oil and grease on his skin. He didn't need the little pumper. He was just able to reach in there, and it was already there.
Just rub his face in the dry popcorn, and
exactly.
I mean, hey, whatever works.
It's like that's the only person I think in the world that Tim actually truly hates. Like, imagine how laid back and boring Tim is, but if I were to have this conversation with him, he would just be like, I fucking hate that guy. It's like we would swap places mentally. He channels my inner rage out of himself.
That's funny. Hey, Tim's a gamer, right? So he doesn't play DCS, does he?
He's a gamer, yeah.
Okay. Because there's a channel on YouTube I found, and the guy's voice and accent is almost a dead ringer for Tim. Oh. And I keep meaning to bring it up, but I never do. The channel's called Longshot, and the guy's like a DCS pilot, and it's the whole thing. Every time I'm listening to that channel, I'm like, God, I just hear Tim the Handlebreaker all the time. It's not exact.
What like is you DCS?
Can tell, Digital Combat Simulator. It's basically like a really, really, really detailed flight simulator for warplanes. And me, having been obsessed with aviation since I was a kid, since I played Wing Commander for the first time, I've somehow stumbled across like Growling Sidewinder's channel. And I was like, dude, this is so fucking cool. And it became a real problem. But DCS, you have to have like a really nice machine to run. And you have to have the time to invest in. You actually have to learn how the aircraft flies, like what all the little switches do. It's not like a plug and play where you just jump in and you're ripping and tearing. You're like, you have to be like, it takes a good 10-hour study course before you can get the damn thing off the ground. So
well, that doesn't sound fun at all.
But if you're into aviation, it is. And like, I was always very interested in like what real air combat would be like. Most of it's BVR, which means beyond visual range. So you're like Fox 3, dive, defend. But like when you get into real turn and burn, there's a whole poetry to it that I find fascinating, and I can't seem to shut up about it. So we'll leave it at that. Guy sounds like Tim. That was the point of the story.
Tim's been doxxed.
Well, you never hear the guy's name, so it just could be like Tim's alter ego when he pretends to fly airplanes and talk about the two circle versus the one circle and blah 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 blah.
Yeah,
it's one of my nerddoms.
Are you ready to get into some issues?
Yeah. We'll do it this way. Here's what I don't get: watching a loved one die. So, I'm going to go ahead and pour this up. You recognize this bottle?
I do.
That's the last I've got of that vintage. And I'm going to pour up a little swig of it. I had you get a little bit.
Actually, I just got a beer.
It works as well. So as people have been aware, if they've been paying attention to me, you changed my thing up there.
I change it every week.
Yeah, I had a cool one. You changed?
Yeah, but you've already used it.
No, I changed it a little bit. First one was Paranormal Instigator. This was Paranormal Inseminator. Either way.
I think you did Inseminator before.
I don't know. Probably not.
Play the tapes.
Play the tapes. So, to anyone who's been following my saga for a while, my wife, Aunt Buck, her mom, has been on the decline. And this is Monday night. What's today's date?
The 27th.
March 27th. By the time this episode airs, she will no longer be with us. Hospice has called in, and we're having to watch. Have you ever just sat and watched watch someone go through this process, the death process?
No.
Not where like they're killed in an accident or something, but like where they have this slow decline where they lay there and they slowly stop responding day by day, and then their breathing gets weird and their blood pressure goes down. And it's a whole horrifying thing, and we've known it's coming for a long time. I kind of had a nudge from the Lord 2 weeks ago that we had 2 weeks left, so I'm figuring Wednesday's about the day. But it's just it sucks, man. This sucks. For one, Aunt Buck's mom, we always called her Guggy on the show, because that's what Annabelle named her when she was little.
Mm-hmm.
Guggy. So Guggy's been a huge influence in my life for the past 15 years ish, and I don't know, man. It's not even for me so much that I'm watching someone that I care about transition into the hereafter. It's watching all the heartbreak of my wife and her dad and my kids, and like other family around, like people from our church who are some are blood relatives. Like just seeing everybody in so much pain, dude. It's fucking killing me. It really is. So before I go any further, here's a little bit of my vintage. I just want to say here's to Guggy. F in the chats, boys.
To Guggy.
That's good stuff. And this will be all that I drink tonight, probably. Well, no promises. But I don't know, man. It's like we've talked about things like cancer on the show.
Ow! God damn it!
We talked
Get the
about
fuck out of here.
getting bit by your cat. It's I don't know. This one's just really poignant, I guess, because Aunt Buck has always been. She's an only child, and she's always been real close with her mom.
Mm-hmm.
And like she doesn't know how to function without her. And the mental, what's actually killing her is dementia. And watching her mental decline, where she can't be coherent anymore. And like I said, for me, it's one thing. I'm like, well, whatever. But I mean, well, not whatever. It's just
Men
I don't know.
process grief in a much different way than women do.
Well, it's not even. I mean, I'm sure, but like when Sword Fighting Buddy passed away, even though that was sudden, like that grief hit me in a different way. And so it's not that I'm like whatever that she's passing away, but I have a different view on it, I suppose, and I have the luxury of seeing it from a more technical aspect and a more spiritually minded aspect, and from just kind of having seen it coming for a couple of years. But I can't not be immediately affected by my wife being torn up all the time.
Yeah.
So feel free to jump in.
Well, I haven't. Everybody in my family has died far away. So like my grandmother and my grandfather both, my grandfather died. We had actually gone. We went and visited them. We were supposed to go visit them like in the next summer, I think, but instead we moved forward the time that we were visiting because basically, I don't know if it was my grandmother or my grandfather who told my mom like, you guys need to come out sooner rather than later. And so we got to see them and spend time with them or with my grandfather, and then we left. Saturday, I guess we left and got home late Sunday evening, and I think by the time we were going to bed Sunday evening, my grandfather had died. Like when we left Saturday morning, they went to the hospital, and he sent my grandmother home from the hospital to go get some sleep, and then he died overnight.
Yeah.
And so I that's the death of a father figure who obviously was able to hold on through seeing us for the last time, and then also having the foresight to not be watched while he faded.
Yeah.
I think maybe that's the difference between men and women too, and that I'd much rather die quickly and alone than making other people go through torture while I'm around. If I ever get diagnosed with dementia, I'm fucking blowing my own brains out.
Well, I mean, so um, so kind of death in the family has been a pretty recurring theme in the Buck household for the past couple of years. In the past 2 years, we'll say, uh, there was uh, my mom's younger sister, right? Car accident, substances were involved. I just got a phone call one night. Pam's gone. Holy shit. Um, my dad's younger sister, cancer, very quickly, very aggressively. Boom. I get a text at work one day. Judy's gone. Holy shit. My mom's dad, we man, this was messed up. He came to Thanksgiving at my parents' house. He was tired. You could tell he didn't feel that great. Uh, the next evening, Friday evening, he goes to bed, and my grandmother, who we've talked about on the show, Little Shirley, technically she's my step grandmother. Um, she hears him, Shirley. She goes in the room. He's gone, like just like that. So I get a text from my dad one Friday evening after Thanksgiving. Albert's gone. I'm like, oh, geez, dude. Uh, my wife has lost some family members, and like friends of family. Her best, like I lost my best friend a couple years ago. One of her best friends growing up was found in a bathroom in a gas station, having been dead for 3 days. How that one happened is beyond me. I mean, I know how she died. How she was left in a
No,
grocery
for
store
3 days, yeah.
in a grocery store bathroom. So there's some questions about that one, and I don't want to dive too much into personal details. But man, it's just I'm kind of getting tired of burying people. You know what I mean? And then we've known that Guggy is gonna be leaving us. I kind of had that sneaky suspicion around November, like where this is probably gonna be our last Christmas with her, probably sometime around the spring. And I'm getting scarily accurate with that. Annabelle's trying to call me. So anyway, let me do that right there. Sorry, edit that out. Then so like we've been kind of going through this process, go to drop my kids off with my parents yesterday because they're on spring break and we got all this stuff going on. Find out that my mom's younger brother, my mom has two younger brothers. One of them passed away last year. His name was Tim. No relation to Tim the Handle Breaker. Must have been the Handle Maker, I guess. And then my other uncle on that side is now on his deathbed, brain dead in a coma, no response whatsoever, no brain activity. So we're gonna have to bury him pretty soon too. I don't know. It's getting old, man. I'm getting tired of burying people.
Well,
I really am.
life is just a series of burying people until then you get buried.
Yeah. I mean,
Because, especially so, uh, that's probably like the dispassionate, logical part of my brain that, like, and I've definitely been saddened by the death of people, and there are
sure.
people in my life that have died that I still think of, and I feel this sense of loss even years after the fact. Um, but I also try and not dwell on it and not live with a fear of death, uh, because, well, so like the Klingons, they believe that our bodies are just a husk and your soul goes on to Stovacor, which is kind of similar to spending your life in heaven. Uh,
Sure.
and I don't know that that's true. Obviously, you believe what you believe. I don't know if there is a world after we leave this one. Um, but I know that it brings comfort to people too that do believe that. So I'm not one to
Definitely.
be like, no, no, Buck, heaven isn't real. All your loved ones are just rotting in the earth, like some atheists who are worthless pieces of shit. Uh, like, yeah, they're if there is an afterlife, then that's where they are, and that's where you'll see them.
Well, it's because you just brought up there's kind of different types of atheists and there's different types of believers. Um, and so I'm someone who has like I've definitely seen firsthand evidence of supernatural stuff. So I have every reason to believe that what I believe is true. But there's always like, I mean, it never really goes away no matter how hard you believe. It's like, well, what if you're wrong?
The doubt.
Yeah, and then it's like, well, what if when you exhale for the last time, you just bloop, and that's it? And I'm one that like that is a horrifying thought to me. And I know there's people who have like nihilists and whatnot who have found some way to find positivity in that, and I'm not one of them. I like existing. I don't know. I'm just a selfish asshole that way. So like that, like every time it's like, what is my loved one experiencing now? And 99.9% of my brain is like, well, I know this person was a believer and I know that they're experiencing unspeakable, unimaginable ecstasy and joys, and they're greeted by the ones that have gone before. And there's that one little asshole in my brain that's like, or they just went blip and that was it. Like, stop. So that makes, I don't know, just that one little niggling doubt always kind of ruins what could always be just like a super duper party. I mean, think about it. People always be like, there's the whole meme of like, I don't want a funeral. I want a celebration. I want it to be a party when I die. And of course, people don't usually stand around boohooing at a dead body at a party, but like it's that one little, like, it's either the doubt or just the sad of the separation. Like, man, I'm going to have to go the next, let's see, I'm 40 years old. Realistically, I got
10.
probably 50 years left. Listen, I used to have a real strong premonition that I would die in an explosion at 45. So let's just, it is what it is. Technically I'm 41. So,
Truck
I don't believe
McTuckin didn't believe he'd make it to 30. So,
well, and I don't actually subscribe to the theory that I'm going to die in an explosion. It's just been one of those, like, it popped in my head one day and it kind of like stuck there. So I don't actually subscribe to it. I'm probably going to live to be like 140, just to spite everyone. Just refuse to die and constantly being a cantankerous old man who steals candy from children and laughs about it,
and has to bury like all of your loved ones, because at that point, like that's always in, if you watch Highlander, the whole like moral there is, do you actually want to live forever? Because all your life is just like watching the people around you slowly suffer and die while you don't age.
yeah. And you feel miserable and also kind of selfish, like, well, yeah. No, I get that. Realistically,
cut someone's head off.
I might. I've got a Highlander sword, and I don't mean from the movie. I mean like an actual replica Highland Claymore that's somewhere around here, probably over in that corner. You've seen it, I think.
Yeah.
So anyway, yeah, realistically, I've got about 50 years left ish, unless something stupid happens. And like, I don't know, I'm getting sick of this process. But I always have to think, like, what happens in 50 years if, like, am I going to go through the same slow decline, or am I just going to, like, do like my granddad did? Just go to bed one night, yell at someone, and then just be dead. I think for me, that would probably be the ideal way to go. Just yelling at people.
I want to go, in a blaze of glory, man. I want to go, like, giving the bird to everyone that I hate. That's part of the reason why I'm not married to the idea of heaven, because like, you get to see all the people who went before you. It's like, I don't fucking like some of those people, man. Like, really,
well, maybe
I gotta spend the rest of
hell.
eternity with them. Yeah, that's true. Maybe I'll get lucky and they'll go to hell. Can you imagine, like, you like walk up to the pearly gates, St. Peter's like, all right, Mr. Buck, I'm gonna let you right through here, and the doors open. It's like your ex-wife, and you're just like, are you fucking kidding me? Are you fucking for real with this?
St. Peter's like, here, slip me a 20. I got a trick for
it. No, Buck. Actually, you get to pull this lever. It's just like, it's like a big flushing sound.
You want to know something weird? So my ex-wife had a daughter before we were married, but I was there when she was born, right? because they don't. There's a whole. I'm gonna get trash for that one, but yeah, I was there. And that kid just turned 18 this month. I'm old.
Yeah.
That's
Is that kid
really
pregnant yet?
no. If she follows in her mother's footsteps, she's got about 3 more years. So, yeah. I think the big takeaway is I want to die screaming at people.
Yeah.
I think that's
just a brain aneurysm, like in the Zaxby's, just like mid shout, like you motherfucker. Just conk right out.
No, what happens is I'm going to be somewhere and I'm going to get so mad, like for whatever it is, like McDonald's gets my order wrong on Sunday morning again.
Yeah.
Like I told you, extra gravy, you sons of, and I just take the gravy biscuit and fling it against the wall and lay down on the floor and die, just in protest. I think that's how it's going to happen.
I think they'd have to shut that place down if you drop dead in there. They're going to be closed for a little while.
And guess what? I'm going to haunt the shit out of that McDonald's.
As you should.
If
I had to think about it, I think I'd much rather be a ghost on Earth than go to heaven, because I would just fuck with people incessantly.
Think of all the chances of just abject dickery, man.
Just shuffling shit around your house for no reason. Like, just go find all those people that I don't really care for and just fuck with their life. Let the air out of their tires and shit.
Cancel their phone plan while they're not around. See, that was... we'll back up for a second. I was supposed to be on the show last week, and I had to work third shift. It was a whole thing. And I told you and Joel and the other guys in the chat, I was like, hey, I'm dealing with like some serious delirium right now from sleep deprivation. And I got in this weird argument with myself while I was driving to work one day about whether or not birds had magical powers. And I obviously I don't believe that, but when you're sleep deprived, you know, the other side of the conversation gets really interesting.
Mm-hmm.
And I decided that birds do have magical powers, but they're only the mundane kind that are just more annoying than anything. So like and it's like some birds can impersonate your voice.
Mm-hmm.
So they wait till you're asleep and they steal your cell phone and they cancel your phone plan. That's bird magic.
Yeah.
That's my issue.
Well, that brings us to the middle of our episode, which means it's time for...
This episode is brought to you in part by... the Mercator News Network. Definitely not fake news.
Definitely not using a limiter. Whew.
Yeah. Are you a big Marvel fan, Buck?
Fuck Marvel.
Well, I've got bad news for you, you big Marvel fan. Jonathan Majors, also known as Wee Was Kang, was arrested in New York City for assaulting a woman. A judge released him without bail on Saturday night, but he's charged with misdemeanor assault, aggravated harassment, attempted assault, and harassment. He's due back in court in May. Now, this would not be news like some guy of a certain
sure,
type beats on his lady. Nobody gives a fuck. But you're starring as the major villain in like the upcoming Marvel Phase whatever movie.
He was just doing a character study, that's all.
Yeah. Well, the crazy thing to me is not this news story. It's the comments and reaction to this news story, which is like, it's not like, you remember earlier this year, Jeremy Renner like ran himself over with the snowplow.
Did he?
Yeah, he was
That's
like
funny.
Clearing people out of blizzards, and his snowplow came loose while he was outside of it, and it like ran over his legs. And he's in the hospital, like bedridden. He's going through physical therapy. They're like, he may never walk again. Well,
Awesome.
Much like this story, the comments are all like, I hope he gets better. He's got to be Hawkeye in the next Avengers movie. And this one is like, what are they going to do with Kang in the Avengers 11, Kang's Dynasty? And it's like, seriously? A woman is being beaten and your concern is like, but what about my comic book films? What about my films?
Yeah, there's a certain lack of self-awareness that here's what I like was, I don't know if you noticed this or not, but like every review of that movie with him in it, they're like, oh, he's the new up and coming big thing. He's going to be the big star. His acting chops in this movie. Like they gave him a bad character, but like, oh man, he really boy, did he really play this part to the hilt, and we just can't wait for the bright future of this young man. Smack.
That's also funny. Yeah, it's I my first bonus episode, I brought in the Marvel Cinematic Universe as my do get.
I remember.
And I really would like to backtrack on that because at the time it was good. But at this point, like, I don't know how many movies they've released in the last few years. I haven't fucking seen any of them. None of them look interesting. None of the upcoming movies look interesting. And they've introduced this multiverse thing, and so I saw a headline that so the new Deadpool movie, like, they're bringing back what's his name, Hugh Jackman as Wolverine. After Logan was supposed to be his final deal,
His swan song, yeah.
Patrick Stewart was in Doctor Strange, I think, but they're bringing back a bunch of other people from these other movies, from Daredevil and stuff, and it's just like, well, now that you have this multiverse, you can just kind of be like, oh yeah, we killed Iron Man, but now we're gonna bring in Iron Man from Universe 2, so it's all okay again. And
Yeah.
people are speculating that Robert Downey Jr. is going to come back. And why wouldn't he? They're going to be like, we'll give you $100 billion for this to come back and be Iron Man again.
We'll give you all the money, and he's going to say, sure.
Yeah.
You know, I have respect
Because why
for?
wouldn't you?
Wait, do you have the Power Rangers thing as an article coming up?
I do not.
Good. So they're doing that Power Rangers reunion thing with just 2 Rangers.
Okay.
Yeah.
There are 4 Rangers from the original Mighty Morphin Power Rangers in that show. And I think Aisha is also back, who is the Yellow Ranger after Trini left.
And died.
And now she's dead.
Well, she died just after doing the show, I think.
No, she died like 10 years ago.
Did she? She died in like 2001, something like that.
Yeah, the show was in 1993.
You said 10 years ago. That'd have been like, anyway. So she'd been dead for a minute. But like, someone was talking with Amy Jo Johnson, the original Pink Ranger, about why she didn't come back for the movie, and they're like, was it because they weren't offering you the right amount of money? And she was like, nah, the money was fine. I just don't feel like wearing fucking spandex in my 50s. And I was like,
yeah,
the wall has spoken. Thank you.
Yeah, because they also didn't bring. Well, they also didn't bring back
Austin St. John.
Austin St. John's Jason, which I watched the trailer for it, and I have to admit I am looking forward to watching this because my favorite Ranger growing up was always Billy, and so I watched that trailer and I was just like, this. It's only 55 minutes long, and you get to see the original Rangers again. You know, I'll put it on and see how terrible it is. But it would be a lot different if it was, because the storyline is Trini dies and her daughter like wants revenge or something. And,
wants to take over being the Yellow Ranger.
Well, that's how it's going to pay off in the end. But then they have Rocky and Catherine who didn't fight with Trini. And it's just like, well, it would be a lot different if it was Austin St. John and Amy Jo Johnson as instead of these two. But, you know, you get
what's going to happen is Trini's daughter is going to find her her like dinosaur coin under the couch, and she's going to like use it to lead her around the house until she finds a shed, and then she's going to go down into a basement and repair her Tiger Zord or whatever it was.
Saber-tooth Tiger Zord.
Saber-tooth Tiger Zord. She's going to repair it without any knowledge beforehand of how it's done, because Trini's Mighty Morphin Ghost is going to come in and show her how to do it, and then she's going to go out and in a whole
Ghostbusters Afterlife.
Yeah, they're just ripping it off.
Yeah. Also, I just want to point out that before the Saber-tooth Tiger Sword was destroyed, which is why they had to get the ninja coins and then have which is where Catherine and Aisha and who is the other one? Rocky all come in. And then they become Zeo.
Whenever that show first came on, I watched it. I was the demographic for that show when it first came on, right?
Yeah, me too.
Like Amy Jo Johnson was my first like awkward adolescent boner. So I watched it until like the first those three Rangers exited the show, and then I was like, oh well, this is just terrible now. I don't want to watch this. Like I literally don't think I watched the next episode. I was like, I'm done. Like I also write myself out of the show.
Yeah, so I wonder if they're gonna like address any of that continuity. I'm sure they won't, because I'm sure it's just like we made a little thing because this show's 30 years old and we want to cash in on you dumb millennials who watch this as children.
That's kind of like when they made a Sonic movie. I was like, are they going to honor anything from the Adventures of Sonic the Hedgehog cartoon that used to come on right after school?
Well, I don't know. Maybe they did. It was a good movie. The first one. It was watchable. The thing was, so Tim and I went and saw that movie expecting it to be total trash.
Well, so everyone went to watch it because they knew that Jim Carrey was going to chew the scenery like he always does. And he did.
And he did. And he did a great job. But the thing was, watching that movie is that it was the first time in a long time I was watching modern entertainment. And then we're just like bonking me in the head with the message and other stupid like girl power. There was a trailer. There's a trailer for John Wick for this movie. I think it's called Sisu or something, but Tim jokingly called it Johan Wick because it's like Finland. It's this guy in Finland. He discovers some gold. He's like riding his horse back to the city. He gets stopped by some Nazis. He kills them all, and then he's like on a one-man rampage against the Nazis. So it's just like no one gives a fuck. But in it, there's a shot where there are like 9 women lined up with guns, and then the whole thing's being narrated by a woman, and I'm just like, oh, this is a fucking strong women Trojan horse. I can feel it.
And the Nazis are going to be saying shit like, make Deutschland great again.
Yeah, I'm so tired of Nazis as an enemy in media because, like, the last survivor of Pearl Harbor died this week. The Greatest Generation are all about to die. You guys raised a lot of really shitty kids. I don't know if we should be calling you the Greatest Generation anymore. Maybe we should call you a bunch of like war fuck-ups.
Well, anyway. I mean, I mean, they came back and they didn't know how to handle the stuff they'd seen, so they like kind of just checked out on being dads. Yeah. That happened quite a bit.
So. Well, we got new human rights in the mix. A team of military medical practitioners at the U.S. Department of Defense defended gender-affirming care, including hormone replacement and puberty blockers for dysphoric minors as young as 7 years old. This is what our tax dollars are going for, spending for defense, for doctors to tell us that it is a human right for someone under the age of 18 to take body-altering drugs for a mental illness. Can we stop fucking paying taxes, please?
Yeah, I think that's a great idea. So I'm just going to go ahead and braid this right here. This little, I think that's what everyone needs right now.
It's a poorly braided piece of rope.
Yeah, anytime someone starts talking about hormone replacement therapy for kids who aren't old enough to like
have hormones in the first fucking place.
Yeah, and like kids, because kids are so confused about everything anyway. Like kids haven't discovered their identity anyway.
Mm-hmm.
So,
well, Buck, I mean, I'm sure when you were 7 years old, you wanted to be fucking Peter Venkman or Batman or some stupid shit. Like we all had dumb fucking ideas about what we wanted to be in life when we were 7 years old. And your parents were like, yeah, that's cute. You know, you can be Batman. You can be Batman. And then they're like, they'll grow out of it. And now parents are like, oh, you think you're a girl now? We'll start fucking taking some pills.
Yeah. I really, like, I'm looking forward to the day when society kind of hits a speed bump and things get reset. Society gets reset really hard. And I'm not talking about like the Great Reset or anything like that. I'm talking about when there's finally a speed bump and like men have to be men and women have to be women because otherwise we die.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, it's not that I'm looking forward to humanity losing people. I'm looking forward to like everyone having to drop the facade and be like, oh, playtime's over. Time to be human beings again. You know, and it's probably not going to happen until someone opens the gates from inside and lets the hordes in. But man,
we desperately need like an asteroid or something to hit this planet and wipe out half of all life. Thanos was right. We are a fucking scourge. It's time to wipe ourselves out. Let's start lining up. We'll go alphabetically.
Well, I'm changing my name to Uncle Zuck with like 18 Z's.
Yeah. Anyway, well, I got one last thing, kind of related to the last story. NPR published a story the other day about how there was no evidence that they sent this tweet. The international governing body for track and field will ban trans women athletes from elite women's competitions, citing priority for fairness over inclusion. Right? That's the headline. That's the news story. And then they put, comma, despite limited scientific research involving elite trans athletes, as if that disproves the statement before it. Even though we can all see with our own fucking two eyes that like men and women are good at different things. That's why high school soccer teams routinely beat the women's U.S. soccer team. Like the top elite women are getting blown out by fucking high schoolers.
Yeah.
There's definitely a difference between men and women. And so NPR had to fucking swallow its dipshit. And also, another fucking thing that I'm getting my fucking money stolen from so these fucking people can lecture me about how there's no scientific studies that men are better than women. Have they not fucking read the book?
Pretty scientific.
And so they had to then fucking tweet out a retraction stating that, yeah, there is research to show that higher levels of testosterone do impact athletic performance. Not that, oh, this thing is wrong. It's just like, yeah, scientifically, the fucking kernel that makes you good at things is in men more than it is in women. And they're like, yeah, but that still doesn't count. I'm so fucking sick of being lectured by people that I'm fucking paying their fucking jobs for. And dipshit liberals will come in here and be like, oh, well, actually, NPR's funding is only like 0.1% as taxes and the rest are blah, blah. Then stop fucking taking it out of my fucking paycheck. You know what? You know what the fucking 1% would go a lot better towards? Literally anything that I want to spend money on. Not what you want to fucking spend money on. So fucking sick and tired of taxes. I want you to pay a living wage. You need to pay a living wage. 30% of your money is being just fucking siphoned out of your pocket before it even gets to you.
That is accurate.
Fuck taxes, man. Anyway.
I agree. I had a secondary point I was going to make to that, but I forgot it because I'm over here playing with this cable too much.
Playing with his own cable. Well, this has been...
I love that band.
Well, that takes care of our legal obligations this week, but you know it doesn't take care of?
Paying our taxes.
Paying our taxes. You can help us pay our taxes by visiting subscribestar.com/HWIDG, tip.hwidg.com, and patreon.com/HWIDG, which stands for...
Here's what I don't get.
Which is the name of the show. And over there we have 5 tiers. We have the $1 tier, which gets you early access to each week's episode, plus our monthly minisodes. Buck and Tony did a minisode recently that was pretty good.
I had fun with it.
They were clearly goading. Tony was clearly goading Buck into things, but it turned out pretty well.
Yeah, I had a lot of fun with that because it was very obvious he was trying to get me to like spurg out.
Yeah, we have our $2 tier where we throw the random bits and bobs we do now and again. Chaco and I did a like behind the scenes just kind of hang cast recently that's out. Tim and I are going to be doing a review of John Wick 4. We have our $5 bonus episodes. Here's what I do get, where you drop the hate and talk about what's great. We've got to figure out a time for someone to do some of those. Then we have our $10 tier where you, the fan, submit a film. You vote on what film we watch, and we watch and record a fan-length commentary. And then finally, we have our $50 Spike Producer tier where you get a say in the show. You can ask for a special format change or a special episode. Anything that your heart desires that we can reasonably fulfill, we will do so.
Reasonably fulfill.
Started putting together some stuff to do our big episode 334 is going to be a really big special Spite Producer episode. So
Okay.
thank you to all of our patrons, big and small, for supporting the show. Thanks for everybody sending us tips on Stream Elements or supporting us on Subscribestar. We would not be able to do the show without your generous support, so thank you so much. But let's get back into some issues, shall we?
Let's do it.
Here's what I don't get. The Disneyfication of animals.
Yes.
So we live in a gynarchy at this point in time. I think it's pretty self-evident. And by that, I mean, we're not a matriarchy, right, where we're led by women. We're a gynarchy where we're led by estrogen. And
That's a good distinction.
we have, like, so boiled away masculinity in this world. And part of that is, like, the problem solving. And Disney's a bad one for it. And what they've done is they've, like, created good and bad animals. So people will, like, love and hate animals based on their perceived notions of what they are in cartoons. And specifically, I'm talking about squirrels. I fucking hate squirrels so fucking much. Talk about a worthless fucking vermin animal. You know,
Yep.
if there's a mouse in your house, you can go to the fucking Walmart and buy poison and traps and sticky things and snapping things and things that they get caught in. You don't even have to fucking see the thing. There's 100 ways to kill a mouse in your house. Rats, same deal. Gophers, now, moles, those are a problem. People don't like those things. It's not as commercially viable to kill them, but it's still like, oh, you got moles? Yeah, you got to kill them.
Yeah, you can buy mole traps.
But fucking squirrels, they're in all kinds of Disney movies. They're big fucking fluffy tail. They got fucking Squirrel Girl in the comic books. They're cute. They're cute and cuddly little animals. I just want to squeeze them. And so, when you Google a very simple thing, I encourage everyone, whatever search engine you want to use, Google, DuckDuckGo, Brave, Alta Vista, Ask Jeeves, fucking whatever, Bing, Google how to kill squirrels. And I fucking guarantee you that the top results are going to be a bunch of pages and pages and pages of people being like, you shouldn't kill squirrels. You shouldn't kill squirrels because if you kill squirrels, the squirrels that poison eat will get into the things that eat them, and it could be eaten by birds. It could be done this and blah, 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 and squirrels, and you should relocate. And there's like pages and pages of propaganda about how you shouldn't kill squirrels because they're cute. And then you get on the fucking things in the comments. Someone will be finally like scrolling through pages and pages of comments on one of these fucking things. I finally found someone who's like, you need strychnine. You need this other poison. You mix it up with peanut butter. You put it somewhere where the squirrels will eat it. They'll eat it, and then they drink water. Their blood, they fucking have their body completely hemorrhages, and they die. They die far away from your house. Thank you. Thank you, random internet poster. That's what this fucking article should have been. I don't need a fucking lecture from the article telling me, oh, you shouldn't kill squirrels because they're good to... I've already decided. I've already jumped into the murdering of squirrels. That's what I'm doing. I don't need to be fucking talked out of it. Now tell me how to fucking kill them or get the fuck out of my way and stop fucking cluttering the internet with all your womanly bullshit about how they're cute and I should fucking love them. They're fucking tearing into my fucking attic, chewing on fucking wires and shit. They're fucking ruining cars. You only like squirrels because you're not having to fucking deal with them. As soon as you have to fucking deal with them, you'll be just where I am, trying to commit a mass genocide against those fluffy little rat bastards. I fucking hate squirrels, and I fucking hate these fucking women that have ruined our fucking culture where you can't just solve a fucking problem anymore. Now you gotta fucking do all this mamby-pamby bullshit to hop around the problem. Oh, you gotta build them out, you gotta do this or that. No, you know what fixes the fucking problem? Death! Death upon them!
I feel that way about woodpeckers.
Good. Fucking kill him. I don't care.
Because one has pecked a hole in the wood paneling of my house several places, and he's pulling out insulation. Yeah, and you can't get him.
Yeah.
What are you supposed to do? I'm in a neighborhood. I can't just like run outside and like start randomly shooting a shotgun at the side of my house. I mean, I could, but it would be frowned upon. I have a YouTube channel for you that you're gonna love.
Yeah.
It's called Mousetrap Mondays. Are you familiar with it?
No.
They have this is the best. I'm relishing this. I'm going to describe this device to you. It's this cylinder. It sits, it's looks like almost like a fire extinguisher almost, and you mount it to the side of a tree, but it's small, like a 20-ounce bottle almost, and you put bait up on the inside of it, and then you install a CO2 cartridge. And what happens is there's a little sensor, and it has to have batteries as well. There's a little sensor in here, and as the mouse, squirrel, wayward hobo reaches up inside there to get at the bait, they trip the electronic eye, and the CO2 cartridge ignites and fires what is essentially like the striker of a doorknob, like right through its head, mashes it completely in half.
Amazing.
And it makes the most satisfying like sound when it does it. And so this channel, though, it speaks to the point that you're making about people being so enamored with animals. This guy keeps getting his videos taken down, demonetized.
Yeah.
He's had his channel threatened to, like, he's got thousands of videos. He's been doing this for years. I've been watching him for years. Sean Woods is his name. And like, people started complaining that he was being inhumane by like testing out mouse traps in his barn. So the guy's a farmer. He's got a barn constantly full of mice, rats, squirrels, you name it. They're always chewing up his equipment. He's killing them. And so he's testing out different mouse traps to see what works. The most popular one by far is this: you fill up like a 5-gallon bucket full of water, or in the case of squirrel, you probably need a trash can.
Build a ramp up to it, and they fall in.
Well, there's that, or the one where like they try and there's like a roller that spans the thing, and you put peanut butter in the middle, and they go boop, boop, and then they just fucking drown. Yeah. And you have like a bucket full of dead mice by the end of the night. Every time these videos get demonetized, he's finally had to start like editing them and put the unedited version on his Patreon. Because people just like the one where he filmed the squirrel. He like set up his little trail camera, and you see the squirrel climb up the tree, stick his head in a little thing, and you hear that just gloriously satisfying ka-chock, and you see the squirrel like go, and the little bushy tail just goes like he stuck his finger in a light socket, and then slumps to the bottom of the tree, just like hits the ground with a thud head first, boom, and it's just a bloody stump. It's the best thing ever. He had to take it down.
Yeah, it's. I hate this world we live in where you can't solve a problem. You constantly have to be fucking lectured about the thing, and you get lectured from people. So like my mom had problems with squirrels. She bought this house. It's in the middle of fucking nowhere, and the house had been empty for like 3 years before she moved in. And so the fucking squirrels went hog wild on the place. They had torn out all the eaves, and they were building nests in the house, and they chewed out a bunch of wires. So first thing she did when she had to move in was bring in an electrician to rerun a bunch of wires through the attic, and then rebuild the eaves to be potentially squirrel proof. But they're still like fucking finding ways into the side of the house. So like because the first year and a half she lived there, she's chasing the holes and trying to run them out and keep them out of the house, and then block the holes. And she's like, well, there's no poison that works because you can't use regular rat poison. You can't use a chunk of rat poison. You have to mix it up with peanut butter, and then they'll eat the shit out of it. They'll eat that fucking shit like it's candy, and that'll kill them. But you can't find that information easily online because every fucking article is about how they're good for the local wildlife, and they do this and they do that. And it's all from fucking people that live in the middle of cities and have never had to actually deal with the inconvenience. Now, a mouse is in your pantry, and you'll fucking put bait traps and poison down. You don't give a shit about that.
Glue traps.
Glue traps and shit, yeah. But you fucking see this shit on YouTube. You see this guy's barn that's being eaten down by mice, and you're divorced from it. You don't have the fucking problem. You'll call an exterminator on that shit, no problem. They'll run off dogs and shit from their yard, but cute little squirrel. I saw the little squirrel. Remember in the fucking Sword in the Stone when he gets turned into the squirrel and the squirrel falls in love with him? That's the picture of squirrels I have in my head. Not the sound of them constantly trying to chew their way in through the side of your fucking house. Not the fucking interior electrical wiring of your car being eaten away by these fucking vermin. They are vermin. They are covered in fleas and ticks and other fucking nasty shit, and you would not fucking hold one for 10 seconds. I saw a video of a squirrel had like fallen into someone's little inflatable pool, and it couldn't get out, and the lady like tries to pick it up on the chair, and then it jumps at her when she's trying to get it out, and it ends up back in the pool. And I was like, good, fucking leave it. Let it get fucking tired and drown. Fuck you, squirrel. Fuck every one of you. Fuck you and all your squirrel friends. The college that I went to, the fucking president's wife, the year after I graduated, it was announced that they were like $1 billion in debt or something. Maybe it was $100 million in debt. It was some obscene number of debt that they had, right? And there was a fund. The president's wife liked to see squirrels on campus. So there was a fund where my school bred squirrels to release on campus that then would, they don't stay on campus.
They go everywhere.
Migrate out into the city. And when I found that, I was like, oh, that's why there's an inordinate number of run over squirrels on every fucking street in this city. All over. Because you've completely unbalanced the local wildlife in order for you to be like, look, a cute little squirrel. So one day I was riding my bicycle and I accidentally ran over a squirrel. It was on a tree and it darted down the tree and out from a bush, and I fucking nailed that fucker and didn't quite kill it. It's all like fucking skitching around on the ground. Didn't even hit the brakes. I was just like, I paid for that fucking squirrel. I fucking hope it dies and scares some sorority girl.
So, man, there's a couple of ways I want to go about this. I told you before we started recording, I used to hunt squirrels in my backyard when I lived in up at the old house.
Yeah.
And I had a situation like that where I would use a little 22. I think you fired that 22 as a matter of fact. Want the scope?
Yeah.
I would sit there and I would go outside, and they would be up in the pecan trees outside, and and then I had a woodshed back then, which I think was gone by the time you came. And I would literally skin them and tack their hides to the side of the woodshed to dry. I'd rub it in salt, tack their hides up, and I had like a whole like freezer bag full of rolled up, perfectly preserved squirrel pellets. I'd throw the meat out and like wild animals will eat it because squirrel meat doesn't taste very good. But I must have had like 30, and I traded them to a guy for this guy that does leather work and makes like sporins in it, like Scottish stuff, sporins, whatnot. He gave me a sporin in trade for like those 30 pellets. And it was really great. How do you feel about possums?
Possums actually like fulfill a need. They're natural exterminators of insect life, which is the only thing that's lower than squirrels and vermin. But possums aren't cute. They're fucking ugly, hideous little monsters, and so they're not revered by women the way that squirrels are.
So Aunt Buck doesn't like possums, and we used to have them out there quite a bit. And so I went and borrowed from, I think, my grandparents, those have-a-heart traps. You know what I'm talking about?
Mm-hmm.
It's so for anyone who doesn't know what a have-a-heart trap is, it's like a rectangular wire mesh cage with two trap doors on either side, or one trap door on either side, and a pressure plate in the middle. So you put bait in the middle, and the animal goes in, steps on the pressure plate to eat the bait, and the doors on the end swing down in such a way that the animal cannot push it open. And then it's called have a heart because then you can go and take it and release it in the wild or whatever. Or you could do what Aunt Buck decided to do. I caught her this big, fat, juicy possum, and she was already mad about possums. They didn't do anything to her. They bare their teeth when she would come close. And there's the myth about rabies. So, and I don't have a particular love for the things, like they're annoying. So I let her take that 22, and she would go out and like just straight up shoot the thing straight in the face whenever I'd catch one. And that was also how we learned about the phrase playing possum is legit. So their brains are tiny, like itty bitty 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 little things. And if you don't know possum anatomy, you could shoot it in the face in the wrong place and not hit the brain. So she did the first time. She shot it square between the eyes, which apparently is not where the brain is. The thing slowly rolled over, and we were like, okay, it's dead. So we go and prepare to do some other stuff. We're going to come out and get it in a little bit. When we come out, the thing's back up, trying to find a way out of the cage after having been shot in the face. So I was like, hey, babe, I think you missed this one. So she goes over, and here's how you can tell when you actually hit them in the brain. They start flipping and rolling like a chicken with their head cut off. Just right inside that cage. It sounded like a lightning storm. Oh, it was great.
The way that I
bits
found
of
out,
skull fragments went flying everywhere. Oh, it was awesome.
The way I found out that possums actually do play possum is there was this cat that looks just like my cat that lived outside at the apartment that I lived in Tulsa, and
Mhm.
so he came up to the house to the apartment one night, and he's staring in the sliding glass door, and my cat is sitting at the sliding glass door looking out. And so at first I'm like, that's my cat's reflection that he's looking at, and then my cat looks at me and the reflection did, and I was like, what the fuck is happening?
It's a ghost movie.
And then I realized that there was another cat outside. And so I started I would go give him a handful of food when he'd come by. Well, one day he comes by and he's got a little baby possum, maybe 3 or 4 inches long.
Mhm.
And he sets the possum down and is like, I brought this for you. So I go out and bring him some food. And then I'm like, what the fuck am I going to do with this dead possum? And I go back inside. I was going to get a plastic bag and scoop the possum up and go throw it in the dumpster. And as I get inside the door, I look back out the little window, and this possum that is, stark dead, laying there, and the cat's now looking in the window at me. The possum turns and looks, and I was like, son of a bitch. And by the time I got back out there, it had scurried off, and then the cat was like, where the fuck did my fucking thing go? So,
that's great. That
Yeah.
cat tried to honor you with the gift of dead possum, only to fail. That cat needs to commit seppuku.
I'm sure that cat's dead now. He was in rough shape. But
Those are the ones that live, man.
I'm so tired of the gynarchy. I'm so tired of if you don't understand why I need to kill squirrels, shut the fuck up. I don't need a fucking lecture about how I'm inhumane, because then it's always like these stupid fucking analogies where it's like, well, how would you like it, Tab, if you went to make yourself a peanut butter sandwich and then it killed you? Like, well, I'm not so
That'd be
fucking
awesome.
stupid as to be eating peanut butter that I just find in the fucking street. I put my peanut butter on a shelf in the pantry. It's the peanut butter that I purchased at the store. It's right in front of another. It's the jar of peanut butter that I broke the fucking seal on myself. I'm not some dipshit that's just like, oh, look at this, I'm gonna eat it. Oh, look at this, I'm gonna eat it. I'm gonna eat this. Because I have a fucking mammalian brain that's more evolved, a primate brain, not some fucking stupid squirrel brain. Dumb bitch. Shut the fuck up.
I even hired a guy to test my peanut butter before I ate it just to make sure it wasn't poison. So screw you. Yeah.
So yeah, I got my second bat. I have 2 poisons because I saw there were 2 separate ones. One was the strychnine and the other one was, I don't remember what the other one was. But then I went and online and I'm like, strychnine poison, and a thing popped up and I bought it, and then I searched for the other one. I'm gonna mix them both together. I hope it kills every fucking squirrel, bird, rat, mouse, gopher, and small child in this fucking neighborhood. As long as it gets rid of the squirrels, I do not care. Getting shit done. That's what men do.
Yeah. I gotta find this thing, man.
Because the other thing is, I don't want to deal with the trap, because I don't want to have to climb up into my attic, set a trap, and then kill a squirrel, and then go deal with the body. I want to just put poison out around my house, have all the squirrels in the neighborhood die, and then live in a squirrel-free world. Because I don't have them, but if you have bird feeders and shit, they will just destroy everything.
Oh yeah.
Around you to get, because they're just consumers. They're fucking Marvel fans. They're the Marvel fans of the animal kingdom.
Yeah, I think Marvel fans deserve the same treatment. I'm so sick of Marvel movies.
I'm just gonna leave little cups of peanut butter outside the next Marvel screening I see, just filled with poison, and see how many of those dipshits just like, free peanut butter must be good.
Just put an M on the side of the a little ketchup cup, like from Wendy's, and just put an M on it for Marvel, and then fill it with peanut butter full of bird seed, and just watch people. Yeah. I think that thing is called a tree sentinel. I'm gonna have to find the video on YouTube after we're done recording and send it to you. I swear to God, do you have a tree that you can see from a window in your house?
I do, yeah, but it's on the street side, so it it would probably get stolen by some asshole bleeding heart woman. Oh, you're gonna kill these squirrels? Oh,
No.
oh.
You put a sign next to the trap that says "To remove trap from tree, insert fingers here," and they put and then like have a note on the inside of that thing that like staples to her finger that says, "Ha, you dumb bitch." No,
Mind your own fucking business.
Yeah, you can mount it in such a way, I guess, that it couldn't be seen from the tree or from the street. But just to be able to sit in your own home and watch this thing, and like people like to sit and watch squirrels frolic outside the window, and it doesn't have to be a tree; it could be like a post or anything. It's just a little tube thing, and just watch the squirrel come around. Like you sprinkle some sunflower seeds on the ground, so they kind of attracted the area, and it will reset itself after every kill, right? And it has the CO2 cartridge has so many charges
Firings,
yeah, so like you can have like a pile of like 10 dead squirrels and then just put them in a box out by the sidewalk that says like free squirrel corpses or something. I don't know.
I'm gonna fucking just stake them to the side of my house, like
Hang
the
from trees.
scarecrows in Planet of the Apes, to
Put them on little squirrel crosses.
yeah, fucking stay the fuck out of here. I'm gonna paint little squirrel markings on the side of my house like they do on airplanes for every plane you shoot down. So how many fucking squirrels I've killed this month.
God, please let me know when you do that. You need to put like a little trail cam outside and just catch each squirrel as it gets decapitated.
Yeah.
Actually, it's not decapitated. It just gets its head completely mashed flat when this little piston goes across.
And like they're fucking vermin, man. And they chew. The big problem is they chew electrical wires.
Yeah.
And then start fires. Or the Prius this was really bad in the Prius because they used some like shit. It was environmentally friendly wire jackets that attracted squirrels and mice and rats. And so people would park their Prius and then squirrels or whatever would get up into the engine bay, chew on those things, kill themselves, and then the car was basically non-functioning. And you get it towed in and they'd be like, oh yeah, there's 30 squirrel corpses inside your car.
All right. Hold on 1 second. I got a call from Aunt Buck. You can
Okay. I have removed Buck from the stream. Total squirrel death. That is correct.
this call, so
What?
etc. So it
You were
wasn't
not on the
working.
stream there for a minute.
Okay, cool. I was afraid that was going to be she just left this call, but it wasn't. She forgot we were doing the show. So anyway,
well, that's my issue. We can wrap it up. The densification of animals. I hate Disney so much it's unreal.
Yeah, me too. Fortunately, they're in real bad financial shape. So
yeah, I hope they go out of business. So anyway, well, this has been Here's What I'll Get. I'm Tab Burt.
I'm Uncle Buck.
Catch you guys next week.
Bye-bye.
If you want to call on the Here's What I'll Get hotline, call us at 704-750-9434 and tell us what you don't get. Or you can visit us on Discord under the voicemail upload.
I'm going to make a request of the listeners. Yeah. So this episode is not going to come out till Thursday night, Friday. For next week, do Uncle Buck a solid favor if you're a Buck fan. Call in, leave a voicemail, wishing Aunt Buck your condolences on her mom. And that way I can play those for her and she can feel the love.
All right. Leave us your condolences voicemails.
For Guggy.
Here's actually this is the only one because I've got one for Tim and one for Chaco.
All right.
Yeah, we're down. Okay. I'm on the last bag of dog food with about maybe 3-4 days left. So see you later.
Well, that call was on Monday. So I can only assume that his dogs are dead.
So I'm curious how our voicemail number has gotten promulgated into the wider sphere of public use for whatever reason. People
There's
just
only
calling
one
our
answer. It's Andy. It, I'm sure he's like writing he's writing it on bathroom stalls for a good time call. I'm gonna start doing that. Actually, that's not a bad idea. Just gonna start tagging our voicemail number in bathrooms. I can't believe it's been 6 years and I just thought of this idea. That's fucking genius. To like fucking write that on just see what the voicemails that show up are. Oh man, I gotta go start going to some dive bars. Just writing that on the walls.
Man, put up a QR code that just as soon as you scan it, it just calls the number.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh.
that's man. I'm on board because those are turning out to be the most interesting voicemails.
They are. They're. So this is what, yeah. If you have a dive bar you go to somewhere, go in the bathroom, bring a Sharpie, 704-750-9434, and let's just see what happens in the world.
That would be great. Should we put a tagline under it or just
No,
just
just
the raw
put
number?
the number and see what happens.
Man, I'm on board. So we don't have anything else?
No, that's it. The other
Dang.
ones are for other people. So
Yeah, well, I know Chaco has been dimming me like man, I'm gonna get so much blowback for this week's episode that he did last week, and I was like, maybe. Like I think a lot of the HWIDG listener base is pretty black pilled.
also agrees with him. Yeah.
Yeah, I kind of don't see that really drawing that much ire. If we had a broader listener base, people who were like, if we had some normies, then he might get some but if we had some women listening, yeah, I think they're probably been pretty short. We had a couple listening there for a while.
We did.
And then one of them like said I had a crush on me or thought I was cute or something, and then she immediately stopped listening.
Yeah, because you found out you're married.
Well, I've also apparently I'm also popular in the bear community. Apparently everybody wants a little taste of buck. It's
Gross.
it's disconcerting. It's weird, and I don't know what to think about it.
Well,
So
let's
everyone,
get out of here.
put your pants back on.
Jerking
All right.
it off.
Yeah, jilling, whatever. I only have eyes for Aunt Buck.
For now.
Well, I mean, it depends on which one of us dies first, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah.
If I die first, I'm definitely going after those hot other corpses in the graveyard.
I think if you die first, you have to just haunt your house. So if she does try and like hook up with another guy, you can like use your ghost chicanery and like fuck.
Well, first off, I'm going to show up dressed like this, so it's going to be a total oxymoron.
Yeah.
And it's just going to be like, I don't know, what's the weirdest, most non-scary thing a ghost could mess with that is still like, oh, well, there's definitely a ghost here, but he unprogrammed all the channels in my Roku. Like that bastard.
That would be a good one.
Like who keeps rearranging my candles? Damn it. Who keeps stabbing all of my throw pillows whenever I'm not home? Why do I hear somebody like every time I'm almost asleep, I hear some random asshole yelling about things? What's all this about? This guy some guy will come over to like try and like sleep over or whatever. She'll get remarried or something, and her new husband will be like, I keep having weird dreams about this guy, like screaming about installing a 10-inch pipe under the bed with a ball valve, and what's all this about? Like I don't get it. So
Yeah. Well, that's it, everybody. We'll see you.
See ya.